UFOs. We're going to talk about UFOs now.
Yes, let's talk about UFOs. So for 50 years, 50 years, and the Congress has been trying to hold hearings. Some members of Congress have been trying to hold hearings on UFOs. What is this sort of deep state, this Pentagon military industrial complex? Like, what do you guys know about what's going on with these unidentified aerial phenomenon that people are seeing all over the country on a regular basis? Like, what's happening here? Is there a secret government program that's been monitoring this stuff? Well, of course, we now know that that is the case, that the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, has been monitoring and studying UFOs for years. Even after they told us they weren't, they still were, and their programs continued clandestinely. It was revealed, of course, a couple of years ago. The story broke in the New York Times, and then they further confirmed it. The Navy confirmed it. The Department of Defense confirmed it. Senators confirmed it. A number of members of the military confirmed this secret program. So we now know the cat's out of the bag, right? They've been watching UFOs. They've been studying them for a number of years. Well, today, after 50 frickin' years, we finally have a House of Representatives hearing on UFOs. Now, you think, great, we're going to get tons of information, right? Not so fast. So even before this all happened, Politico, I love this Politico piece, said a skull and bones type vibe was approaching. Spy agencies grapple with how much to share at this UFO hearing.
Because you, the public, cannot be trusted.
I mean, this is outrageous.
To believe in various levels of existence.
So, wait a minute. No. You're going to grapple with how much you should share with us? No, you assholes. We pay you, your salaries. You are being called in front of Congress to tell us after 50 frickin' years what the hell is going on here.
Well, they're using the line, we do not want potential adversaries to know exactly what we're able to see or understand or how we came to the conclusion. So who are the adversaries human in this case?
Yes. So the adversary. So let me just first of all say that we know without a doubt that there are craft that have been studied by the United States government, that has been confirmed by the United States government, and those who have worked on these programs, who have studied the reverse engineering of these programs, who have worked at the Department of Defense on these programs. So we know that these craft exist, these phenomenon exist. They travel at unbelievable speeds, nothing that the human body could ever withstand. And so
I feel like you're not answering the question
I'm getting to it, right? So that we know exists. So now the military-industrial complex sees an unbelievable opportunity here to use this as a national security threat, right? They get to couch this as a national security threat and we can pretend.
And I'm asking, how do they mean? Because it's not clear what they're saying. Who are these adversaries that we're afraid of? Are we now gearing up to be prepared for otherworldly beings, or are we worried that, say, Russia type of or China,
right? China
knows that we see otherworldly beings and it is none of their business.
Well, yes, exactly. So to us, the layperson, the argument is we can't talk about this publicly of what we know about these craft that we have at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and we've been studying for years at Area 51 and others, and we've been studying the reverse.
Yes, Clayton.
Hold on, let me finish my thought.
I know.
I hate when you interrupt me because I can't
what you're doing is just giving us a laundry list of all the things you already know to be true.
Right, but what I'm saying is we can't talk about it publicly, says the military.
Okay, but let's
because
break down
otherwise
what
they
the
will
news
learn about
is
it.
and why they're talking to us this way.
But you asked me a question I'm trying to answer.
But you just keep telling me about books you've read that you know they did this and this and this and this.
I'm telling you about books I've read? Can we have a little bell that rings about every time you tell us about a book you've read?
We know they did this, and we know they did this, and we know they did this. But the story today is that they're trying not to tell us what they've done. And what I want to talk about right here is, yes, I can go to the bathroom and come back and you can tell me everything you know to be because this is all Clayton does is read books about this type of stuff. But what the story is today, right, is why are they not what is it they don't trust us to know? What is the narrative that we're supposed to think, and what are the alternatives?
why they're not telling us is because they want to keep this information secret in order to bolster the military industrial complex. That's my theory on this, right? That if they talk about it publicly, that they think they're letting the cat out of the bag, and that, oh, China or Russia or somebody else would get access to the information we have about these craft, right? That they've been studying them for 50, 60 years, trying to figure out this technology, that they can't, right? That's the answer, okay? So they don't want to talk about it publicly. What I'm saying is that these senators are using this as a fulcrum to try to get some information, and I appreciate it, but at the same time, they're doing it to just bolster the military-industrial complex like Marco Rubio.
Okay, then can I just throw out a few, like, possible scenarios?
Okay.
Is it because you think that, well, I know you believe that government officials have spent government dollars reverse engineering alien craft?
Yes.
So are we trying to keep that for ourselves?
Oh, of course. I mean, do you think we're going to give this away?
It's
This video. I mean, these craft that was released, in 2014, the USS Nimitz. Like this is verified by the Department of Defense and the U.S. Navy. Like these things are like unbelievable speeds that go into the ocean that no human body could actually withstand these G-forces. The body would be ripped to shreds at this, right? So
yes.
If we have access to this type of technology, think about
it gives us a sort of superpower here on Earth.
Superpowers beyond anything. And this is why China and Russia, there's reports, of course, that Russia have their own craft that have been down, that they've been studying. But the great secret is that we are so primitive that none of us have been able to figure out how to reverse engineer this stuff. Like it's, so we can't let the cat out of the bag. We can't go in front of Congress and we can't tell the rest of the world what we have. So Congress is frustrated by this. This is why we don't ever have these hearings, because it's all just a game.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, yeah, and then they can't, the problem is that they can't hold a frickin' press conference, and they can't do it. So here's one exchange. I just wanted to play. This is one exchange from the hearing today where, let's listen to, let's listen to this. Here's one good example.
We know that our service members have encountered unidentified aerial phenomenon. And because UAPs pose potential flight safety and general security risk, we are committed to a focused effort to determine their origins. The department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people. However, we are also mindful of our obligation to protect sensitive sources and methods. Our goal is to strike that delicate balance, one that enables us to maintain the public's trust while preserving those capabilities that are vital to the support of our service personnel. To optimize the department's UAP work, we are establishing an office within the Office of the Secretary of Defense. That office's function is clear: to facilitate the identification of previously unknown or unidentified airborne objects in a methodical, logical, and standardized manner.
I mean, leave it to the government to make something like that boring.
Right.
Even people behind him were like this.
Like, come on, man, show us some video. So we actually did get some new video, and the Pentagon actually released new UFO videos today. So Adam Schiff asked Scott Bry to get up there and explain, like, what is this video? And he said, we don't know. And the Pentagon admits, we don't know.
What are we observing?
What you see here is aircraft that is operating in a U.S. Navy training range that has observed spherical object in that area. And as they fly by it, they take a video. You see it looks reflective in this video, somewhat reflective, and it quickly passes by the cockpit of the aircraft.
And is this one of the phenomena that we can't explain?
I do not have an explanation for what this specific object is.
So again, the point I think that we got from this hearing is that, okay, we got some new information. The Pentagon says we're committed to openness and transparency. We're going to, inside the Department of Defense, creating a new office to investigate these things. Okay, right. So just like JFK files, we'll probably never see what's happening. One of the questions that one of the members of Congress asked the Pentagon was, do we have any equipment that measures when these UFOs go into the water and they become USOs, underwater submersible objects, which That's exactly what happened in the USS Nimitz video, right? This thing actually goes underwater. And actually, David Frager, who was flying at the time, said he actually thought it came from a larger craft under the water. So do we have anything, was asked, under the water that's monitoring these craft? And he says, his response was, we can't talk about that. Can we talk about that behind closed doors?
And is this a situation where it was observed by the pilot and it was also recorded by the aircraft's instruments?
We'll talk about the multi-sensor part in a later session.
So
They were also asked if the phenomena could be some unknown Chinese or Russian technology. They said, we don't know that for sure, that it's not, but if it is, we'd be very concerned about it. Like, we really don't like even thinking about that as a possibility.
And again, guys, this comes back to like why we have a space force. Like, this is the whole reason, is because you're hearing this threat of national security, right? Marco Rubio saying, and that's how they're couching this. Like, we need now we need a space force to protect ourselves. Guys, there's no protecting us against this. Like, if they wanted to do anything to us, they absolutely could.
In which case, that would make the argument for sort of human collaboration, which doesn't seem to be the goal at all, right? So if an alien force was malevolent,
Right, like
and
Ronald
came here
Reagan said.
like Independence Day, then it wouldn't matter, you know, Russians or Americans. It would only matter protect human lives.
That's what Ronald Reagan said in front of the United Nations in the 1980s. He stood in front of the UN and he said, couldn't you imagine? He said, I often think about if an alien craft landed here in Washington, here in Washington, we would all come together. There wouldn't be like a Russia and we would all come together. And that's the great, canard of this whole thing, is that like that's already happened, and we just have drawn battle lines publicly about where we are on this whole thing. So who knows? The Pentagon just basically
plot of Independence Day,
sandbagging everything. We'll see what we get from this information. We got some new information. It's like they gave us little morsels today. Like, here's a little video for you. We don't know what it is. That's one little piece we have, but we don't know anything else. Like,
we had the opportunity to dine with someone who was Hungarian, and someone who was Georgian. It was an international dinner we went to last week. And I asked them, because we were talking about these hearings coming up, and I said, well, in your own countries, don't you have these stories, like a Roswell or something? And they all kind of scratched their head, like, I don't know. So I wonder how much of this is an American fascination. We'd love to hear from you. So please tell us your thoughts.
yeah. All right.